Just a quick look back at Tuesday night then, that 1-1 draw at York. What are your final thoughts on the performance?
I think it's an old saying, really. I think to be successful, if you win at home and get points away, however you get them, in the long run, it usually works out. You've had a very successful season. I think we're all a little bit disappointed how it sort of flattened out a bit second half, and we allowed them to have a couple of really good chances near the end, which would have been a real, kick in the stomach if they'd won and we'd left with 0 points. So we've got Ross to thank massively for getting that point for us. So listen, I keep saying it, points win prizes, and it's about points and nothing else that get you out of this league. But yeah, I think we'd be lying if we're all a little bit disappointed with how it sort of died out a little bit, our performance in the second half.
Yeah, four points from the last 2 games. If you can get a win on Saturday, 7 points, that'd be a good return this week, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely. But easier said than done. So I think whether we'd won at York, lost at York, beat Bromley here, lost against Bromley, our focus doesn't change on Boreham Wood. At home, ourselves and our supporters demand nothing less than a home win because of the size of the club and where we want to go this season. So yeah, we'll be looking for a win, level on points. They'll be strong, they'll be tough. I keep saying it, Luke is a mate of mine. He's done ever so well there over the years, but all that goes out the window Saturday because we've got to send them packing with the defeat, and then obviously we can hopefully get up back in that top 3.
Yeah, it's similar to Bromley, I suppose, in that we've had some good battles against Boreham Wood over the years, haven't you?
Yeah, I think everyone has good battles against Boreham Wood. I think they're a team similar to Bromley where they keep going right to the end. They've signed some good players, some good attacking players. I think on Tuesday at Dagenham, they brought 2 forwards off near enough the same time and brought 2 forwards on. So attacking wise, I think they're stronger than last year. They're going to be strong with that 3 at the back. They've got a goalie who's very popular here, and I think he always does ever so well from Nathan. So it's going to be a good atmosphere. They're going to be strong. They're going to be up for it. And we've just got to make sure, like every game, we turn up and do our bit. And I'm sure if we do, we'll have a good day.
Another goal for Jeff King on Tuesday night. Just how impressed have you been by his performances this season?
I think in last season as well. I think when he was brought in, I think he actually started off behind George Carline. I think with the previous manager's selection, and obviously George was an excellent player for this club, so there's no shame in that whatsoever. But over time, obviously, he's made it his own. He's got Sheks pushing him, Raheem Shekford pushing him all the time this season, so that keeps him on his toes, I think, which is good for any player to have that competition. But listen, he'll admit he's still a young lad in football terms. He's got loads to improve on, but going forward, he is the best around, I believe, at this level at the moment. But it's up to him now and no one else to maintain his standards.
Yeah, and just how important is it that the club try and tie him down for a longer stay if they can?
Yeah, I think the manager's a big fan of him. The fans are, the board are, I am, we all are. So, we want him to stay. Jeff, as far as I'm concerned, and what I've heard when I speak to him, he doesn't want to go anywhere. He's enjoying it. I think he's got a real good relationship with the fans now, which means a lot to any player. When they sing your name and when you step up to take corners, to take free kicks, to cross balls. He's one of the main men. So it's great for any footballer to be wanted, and he's certainly wanted here.
15 games gone now. What's your assessment of how the top of the table's shaping up?
I think pretty much how people would have predicted in terms of the teams that are up there, ourselves included. Say Wrexham, Solihull, Notts County, ourselves, Boreham Wood. You go, well, okay, they're pretty much the 5 plus 1 or 2 maybe. Southend are on our tails now. So the bigger clubs, or the clubs with a bit of spending power or a bit of pedigree at this level, they're all proving that why we've all got those tags on us. Obviously, in ourselves, we'd rather be top than 4th, but if we can just be in around that mix, it makes a real exciting run, I think, post Christmas.
Yeah, is it just about trying to stay in touch and not let that gap sort of grow and grow week to week?
Yeah, that's important. I think it's 8 points at the moment, but Notts County, I might be wrong, I just checked it a minute ago, so excuse me if I'm wrong with that, but certainly there's a gap between us and Notts County. If we'd beaten York the other night, the gap of us and Wrexham wouldn't have been so great, and even at the minute it's not massive. So listen, we'd like to think that we've had a little bit of a blip with our 3 defeats, and now we're watching with bated breath to see if other teams above us have that blip, which I'm sure they will. But as much as we're looking at how they get on, we've got to make sure that, it's pointless worrying about how Wrexham do Saturday if we don't do the business against Boreham Wood.
Not too many clean sheets this season. Is that becoming a little bit of a concern?
I think the gaffer highlighted the other night that he was disappointed with the way at the minute we're defensively letting in a lot of goals, and like he said, that's a team effort. It's a bit of a cliche, but it's certainly true. It is a team effort, and I think that as much as it's been disappointing in terms of the goals I suppose we've conceded and how they've come about, the positive at the minute, we've got a goalie in form. I think we rode the storm with 3 or 4 corners on the trot at the end, where if you look at the physicality between us and York, Mike Jones was marking Mafuta. It was lads having to do things out their comfort zone because of the size of our team, and maybe the size of other teams, and lads are stepping up to plate and taking responsibility. And sometimes it takes a bit of time for things to iron themselves out in terms of dealing with counter-attacks and dealing with longer balls. And sometimes it comes to sort of Christmas, January time, like, right, okay, we got it now. We're going to defend properly. We're going to take more chances. We could talk about that, but I think we could have been 2 up, maybe 3 up at York. So that then maybe puts the game to bed. But ultimately, to be successful, to be in that top 3 of this league, you have to score goals and you have to defend to a certain standard. Anything in between obviously gets you to the attacking goal, and then obviously the stuff without the ball in between stops them from getting near your goal. So it's not rocket science what I'm saying, but ultimately at the moment we've just got to make sure we go into Saturday knowing that defensively we've got to be on it. But there's no point being defensively just on it if we're not going to score goals. So we've got to tick all boxes.
And you've scored in every league game so far, but is there still a need to be a little bit more ruthless in front of goal?
I think it helps. I think it helps. I think that the way and the attractive football that the manager wants to play and what the club are used to seeing from a Paul Cook team encourages attacking play. And as much as the attacking play sometimes is scintillating, we've got to make sure that there are more end products at the end of it. And let's not be too quick to be negative or anything. It's been those 3 bad league games where we didn't play particularly great and we lost. The other night, second half was average, if we're going to be honest. So it's not the end of the world at the moment, but it's still that realism of going, okay, we're a few points behind Notts County now. Let's not let that gap get any bigger, because we've got to aim for the top. Whether you get there or not, it's a different story, but you've got to aim for it, and that's what the supporters want to see.
Ollie Banks came off with a hamstring injury on Tuesday night. Is there any update on him?
Yeah, he's literally come in about 10 minutes ago for his treatment, and I think at the moment, without scan results, it's not looking great. It certainly won't be fit for Saturday. That goes without saying, but we're hoping it's weeks rather than months.
Yeah, I suppose that'll be a massive blow, but at the same time, it gives someone else an opportunity, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, it does. It gives other people opportunities, but Ollie was brought in to be one of our main men. So, like you said about Jeff King, if you lose one of your main men, you're not happy. It's great that we've got great lads to come in who can more than step up to the plate and give their all for this football club. But we'd all be lying. It's like Cabs last year. You don't want to lose your best players. So we're hoping that it's sooner than later with Ollie.
Is it quite a bad pull then, what he's done?
I think, listen, nowadays limits about scans, isn't it? So I presume once we've had the scan, I think he's had the scan, when we get the results we'll know more. Obviously we're hoping it's a strain as opposed to a tear. That's the hope.
And Joe Quigley as well wasn't involved Tuesday night. How's he getting on?
I think it was a real close one to being involved with him, to be honest. So, like I say, we've come in a bit later today, so we've all got to sit down with our meetings in the next half an hour or so. If you ask me now, I think he'll be all right to be involved Saturday, but we'll see how he's reacted after the work he did yesterday with the physio.
And just a couple more. Jack Clark, Michael Gayassi not being involved for a bit, obviously due to injuries. Are they progressing nicely? Yeah,
I think Jack Clark and Michael are both fit for selection. I think their injuries they sustained have healed. As far as I'm aware, it's now just the general sort of actual CV fitness, to say they're up to speed to getting involved. They trained hard the last few days. They'll be training fully again today, and I would think they're available for the manager to select.
And is it going to be a few more weeks for Lucas Coverlap?
Yeah, I think so. I think I spoke to him yesterday, and he says he has days he gets out of bed and he limps a bit, and then other days it's not. And I think while you've got those inconsistencies, it's telling your body it's not quite there yet.